Hey, what's going on? I'm Fabian for Liberty, fabian4liberty.com. My 2015 predictions video. Yes, it's that time of the year. And I'm going to cover in this order geopolitics, politics, business, and lastly, economics. My predictions for my crystal ball, if you will. I'm going to put my psychic hat on and see I've been working on this really the whole year, but the last couple of weeks as far as trying to recognize just where things are headed. I think that, that's going to really make the big difference between those that, as they say, survive and thrive in this economy and basically everybody else. Those that can have a little bit of foresight, trust themselves. I should do a quick disclaimer. Don't take my word for any of this stuff. These are my opinions. Yes, do I make investment decisions based on what I believe is going to happen? Absolutely, but they're my opinions. You need to do your own research. You need to trust yourself first and foremost. Trust your instinct. Develop your instinct. So I'm going to break all this stuff down. Want to just remind everyone that next month, it seems like time just has flown by, I'm going to be in London for a couple days doing an all-day event. Saturday and then the evening on Friday. And then I'm going to be in New York March 21st all day doing a virtual real estate investing seminar. You can get those tickets and check out more information at fabiancalvo.me under the events tab. Okay, let's get started. Geopolitics, what to expect. I could go on for hours talking about this stuff. There's so many things. I picked two that I think will be front and center in 2015. The first one deals with Russia. I think Russia is clearly seen they are under economic attack by the United States and by the West, who is trying to collapse their economy. I don't believe Vladimir Putin is going to allow that to continue. I think he's going to continue to reach out to the Chinese, to the Indians, to the Pakistanis, to some European countries, try to forge a stronger alliance to counter not only the sanctions, but also the influence of NATO and the West and their impact that is having on the Russian economy. Remember, the ruble down 50% this year, which, by the way, personally, I don't like fiat currency. Although I'm someone who likes value and looks for value. And I think buying some ruble and holding it short term, it may not be a bad idea because I don't think it's going to remain at a 50%. I don't think it's going to remain down for that much longer. Certainly, maybe for 2016 or 2015, but 2016, who knows? I think also, just as much as there is a potential for Putin to either do another power grab as far as land grab in the eastern and the Baltic states. I don't think there's going to be anyone who steps up to him to try to challenge him or stop him. The sanctions is pretty much all that they will do. But I think with the economy of Russia on the verge of a collapse. I mean, let's not mince words here. I mean, yes, they still have major gold reserves. They're better capitalized, the Russian central bank is, than the U.S. Federal Reserve. But their economy has taken a major hit. You could potentially see in 2015 an ouster of Putin. Even though his popularity is at record highs, you could see a coup against Putin to get him out of there and put someone in who will be friendly towards the West and will try to reestablish economic relations with the West. That is certainly a possibility. I have no doubt the CIA and other people in the U.S. government are working their sources and their leads and their assets in Moscow and in Russia to try to set the stage for this. I have no doubt about it whatsoever. Here's another big geopolitical update that we started to see already the last couple of years, starting with the Golden Dawn Party in Greece, and other parties in Hungary and in Italy and other countries as well. But the rise of nationalist parties will continue to grow in popularity. I mean, we see this happening now in Germany, We are seeing it happen pretty much throughout Europe because the fraud of multiculturalism has been exposed. the fraud of the EU has been exposed. The EU being, of course, one of the most corrupt organizations in the world, almost as corrupt as FIFA, and that's pretty hard to beat. So the point is that because of a breakdown in the communist socialist policies of the EU, because of the wealth redistribution, because of rampant illegal immigration that is completely changing the demographics of Europe and in America as well, from basically white Westerner to, third world country. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, it's just a reality, right? If you're in Germany and, your country's being flooded with illegals that aren't assimilating into the culture, people are going to have a problem with that. And that's what's happening in Spain, Germany, all over, Italy, you name it. And people aren't hip to that, especially when many times, like in America, the illegals that come to America, ladies and gentlemen, are treated better than U.S. veterans that fought in Iraq and Afghanistan and all the other wars as well, are given platinum health care while vets here at home die in the VA. Okay, that's just an economic reality. Not an economic reality, just a reality. And people aren't going to stand for it much longer, quite frankly. And that's why I think you're going to see a big story is going to be nationalist parties, Marie Le Pen in France and in other countries as well. Politics. Of course, probably Jeb Bush is going to run. He's a complete, absolute disaster. I will throw my support behind Rand Paul. He's not perfect. He's not like his father, but I'll take him over anybody else. But I think the dark horse here to watch is Elizabeth Warren. The American people know how corrupt Wall Street is, and she has the ability to articulate that corruption really, really well. I don't agree. I think she's a far left lunatic personally. But when it comes to the banks, this is kind of where libertarians and liberals kind of can come together because they recognize the rampant criminality and the destruction of the middle class because of the Federal Reserve and the big mega banks. And she, again, can articulate that really, really well, better than most that I know. And I think that will really help her out. I think that she could, like I said, be the potential dark horse, beat Hillary Clinton, and eventually get the Democratic nomination and win. I think that I do believe there will be a woman elected to the White House in 2016 because that's just my thoughts. Now, business. A lot of business things that I can talk about. Here's a couple that I want to go over. Valuations for businesses, particularly startups, and just business in general, are going to reach record valuations. We see Uber being valuated at $40 billion. Facebook, I think it was like $75 billion. So it's just going to be out of control valuations for companies that are going to, I think, begin to have a lot of investors be like, is that really, really? That's worth more than, Coca-Cola and Facebook is worth more than Coca-Cola and DuPont and all these other companies that have been around forever. It will make no sense. Like the financial markets in general. Again, all manipulated, and I'll get to economics here in a second. The other thing is that I think the golden age of business that I've been talking about for a while is going to open up unprecedented opportunity that we have never witnessed in America before, quite frankly, in the world. This is a global thing, not just in America. But the advent of 3D printing could potentially start a manufacturing renaissance in America done by small businesses in their homes or in their little factories. I think it is a great year for the entrepreneur because of all of the resources that the golden age of business allows. And one of them, is Amazon and Amazon entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you, I personally think that by the end of 2015, that window for becoming an Amazon entrepreneur is going to begin to close. Now, there's still going to be a ton of other outlets out there to be able to sell value and promote value. But I see the restrictions coming from Amazon, and they're making it more difficult for entrepreneurs to get into different spaces. And I think that opportunity is still huge and still exists. But you definitely don't want to wait much longer if that's something that you think interests you. All right, economics. This is where I got the most stuff. I'm going to try to knock this out here in a couple minutes. First one, the stock market. I've been telling you for a while now, the stock market's going to 20,000. Again, not fundamentals. Now it's all manipulation, right? Surpassed 18,000. It is on its way to 20,000. May not hit 20,000 in 2015, but it will get very close to 19,000 or passing 19,000 on its way to 20,000. And again, high frequency trading. We have Michael Lewis exposing how all the markets are rigged, where you have JP Morgan and these other big mega banks they are literally, spending billions of dollars laying high-speed internet cables so that they can make trades in nanoseconds. Okay, a millionth of a second, I believe, is a nanosecond, which they'll cut in line of everybody who buys to make more and more money. So the criminality is at epic levels in the stock market. I think history will show this period to be one of the most corrupt and sinister, economically speaking, as far as economic shenanigans, that has ever been recorded in economic history. The Fed, I think, will continue to keep rates at 0%. Of course, if they raise rates, now if there is a black swan event that forces them to raise rates, like a run on the dollar, that's a whole different, all bets are off. But I think throughout 2015, we will see interest rates remain at record lows, siphoning to date, since 2003, $9 trillion from the middle class that they otherwise would have gotten in interest payments, gonzo. The income gap between the rich and the poor, I've said this for a while, and it's going to come down to pretty much three groups. And it's going to be the elite, it's going to be the value creators, and it's going to be everybody else. And I know that I'm not going to be in the elite group, but I certainly don't want to be in the everyone else group, because that's not a group that's going to really do pretty well. In fact, those are the ones who are going to get hurt the most when this economy and this business cycle comes crashing down, perhaps as soon as 2016. Housing will see, the housing market is going to see I believe will probably appreciate by 10% nationally. We're going to see Fannie Mae begin to stamp up and ramp up those 3% money down loans that they're giving out like candy. I spoke to a lot of my realtor friends that I talk to weekly, and they're telling me they're seeing it everywhere. And three more things. Gold and silver prices, I think, will continue to go down in 2015. They're going down because the criminals that run the financial system are purposely driving those prices down as they buy up record amounts of gold and silver. Basically they manipulate markets at their whim. They can act with impunity with whatever they want. So of course they're going to rig the market in gold and silver, like they rig the market in everything else: real estate, stocks, fine art, you name it. OPEC, I think, this is probably one of my boldest predictions. I think that we will see the breakup of OPEC in 2015. Or at the very least, see some of the central players of OPEC, like Iran, leave OPEC, which will be significant, because if they leave, where do they go? Likely they're going to go into this energy union that the Russians are created, another way the Russians can counteract what the West and the Western sanctions. And lastly, I want to just say that this isn't going to happen, in my opinion, in 2015, but we are, I think, towards the end of 2015, going to see serious economic headwinds that will begin to form. I think that it would potentially, will be some kind of cyber attack that, just like happened with Sony, that exposes the banking fraud at its epic levels. And that, my friends, will send shockwaves. Remember, for an economy to function, the number one component for a functioning economy is trust. And if hackers or a cyber attack can basically reveal, the emperor has no clothes, reveal the mask of the rampant fraud in the economic system, it's game over for the U.S. economy, or at least a major leg down. All right, that's going to do it for my predictions. I'd love to hear what your thoughts. What did I miss? What should I have talked about? Again, hope to meet some of you in London and in New York in the coming months. Have a great new year. Hope you had a great Christmas as well. Remember, you can check me out at fabianforliberty.com or fabiancalvo.me. And lastly, beginning of next month, I'm going to be having a new real estate podcast. I'll be doing my regular podcast still, but I'll be having a new real estate one that will come out with an episode once a week, breaking down how you can tap into the continued opportunity in real estate. And let me tell you, when the market does crash, For those that are ready, it's going to be the greatest buying opportunity of all time, not just in real estate, but in stocks and a bunch of other things as well. All right, so thanks for watching. I'm out.